You just went live?
Yeah, I was just making sure it was going to work.
Oh.
But we're just going to chat for a few minutes anyway, so...
Oh, well, I didn't know you were going live.
Are we going
You're
live?
live? He went live, Phil.
Well,
We're live. We're live. It's crazy.
Well, I just wanted to make sure it was working.
Well, it apparently is. It says live on my end as well.
All right.
And that's
groovy.
good. That's good.
That is. Yep. We're all moving forwards now. All on the same page.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I move out here to the Tiki Bar to do my show, basically to get out of the den, out of the house. I don't listen to the
I am in full support of you moving to the Tiki Bar, Phil.
But
Phil, from now on, I want all of your breakdowns from the Tiki Bar. No, listen to me. You listen to me right now, old man. I want you to get in there with a drink. I want you to greet the people. I want you to do what you do.
Okay. All right. Okay, Chris. I'll do that. All right. Okay. But it's funny that if we finally get this thing figured out from my end, how to go onto my YouTube channel.
We seem to be having a problem.
And all of a sudden it's like, and then we thought Richard had it all figured out. And then we can't go live.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It is a problem. I'm gonna have to figure this out somehow.
Phil, this is a family friendly podcast.
Either that or get some blue. Squatchable.
Squatching right at you.
We're squatching it. We're squatching it right down your
street. Down the line. Right? No? How's that drink, Phil? How's that drink treating you?
That's funny you should say that. It's a pretty good drink today.
That's good.
Yeah,
it's good. I'm glad that it's treating you well.
It's a nice little drink. It's root beer float. You ever had a root beer float?
I don't like root beer floats.
The alcoholic version?
Probably
don't like root beer floats.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
I doubt I'd like the alcoholic version.
Yeah, because it tastes just like a root beer float.
Oh, well, hey.
Yeah, so you probably would.
Something to look forward to for somebody that likes a root beer float.
Root beer float, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to pass that information along, Phil.
I will. Anybody that wants to know how to make a root beer float, Google it.
And then you will know.
And you'll know.
You'll know what's going on in the world.
I've been making them for years.
There's only so much you can do, Phil. It's only so much.
And then you die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's Richard here today.
Or you can do a show like this.
Well, it's Saturday in the park. All right.
That was horrible. That was horrible. That doesn't go. No, Richard, wait a minute. I have to correct it. It's Saturday in the park. Come on now, Phil.
Every day's the 4th of July.
Thank you, Phil. Put a little soul in it. Jesus. All right, Richard. Now we're ready.
We're ready. Phil, are you ready?
I'm ready, Teddy.
Well then, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Squatchable podcast, where we take a look at the week in Bigfoot news. Joining us from the 40-inch slip, as always, Chris York. Chris, how are you?
Wonderful, Richard. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for asking. And joining us, as always, is Phil Pulling from Power Breakdown. Phil, how are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you very much for asking.
You're very welcome.
And may I point out, though, that talking about Chris 40 and slip. I had just transferred like his latest podcast over. I have a channel I put all that on, but it's like, was it 72 or 73 episodes now?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
No, the new one.
Yeah, the podcast.
Excuse
40
me.
and slip, the podcast.
No. This show actually has way more episodes than that.
Oh yeah.
We kind of restarted the count when I decided to reboot how I did things and just kind of give it a fresh new, because I wanted to stop using like the clickbaity pictures, and wanted to just put up a picture for the show. And
how long has the show been going? It's been going on for like 4 years, hasn't it, or something?
Almost 6.
Wow.
Yep.
So it's been like up in the hundreds somewhere as far as the episodes.
Oh, farther than that, Phil.
Gee, thousands, hundreds of thousands.
Not thousands. It's just, there's quite a few hundred.
Hundreds of thousands of episodes.
And there's I did a lot of bedtime stories and
yeah, well, those are good.
Different things, and there's all kinds of different news shows that we did over the years.
I do recall those.
Yeah, Steve and I would do like 3 times a week. We would do the news.
And then, of course, the Bob and Dave show. The
very short-lived Bob and Dave show.
I think there was 2 or 3 episodes.
Phil, that was so horrible. It's just bad. Just bad. But yeah, no, it's all out there now. It's on iTunes and Spotify, and I only have the most recent version of the show uploaded from excuse me, episode 1 of the reboot on.
Still,
so it's only like the past year of episodes. It's uploaded.
You're kicking it, man. You're kicking it.
Absolutely. And thank you, Phil, for buying a shirt, T-shirt. The sale is now over.
Yay! And, I'll be getting it soon.
Yep. Well, you should be getting it. I think they ship on the 9th. So they should be coming within the week. But sorry, Richard, we were holding you up there. Phil gets all long-winded when he has a drink of root beer float or
it was just
whatever
something
it is
I
he
noticed.
To be drinking.
Just something I noticed. In it,
obviously. But yeah.
If you enjoy the 40-inch Slip on Power Breakdown, you may enjoy the badly drawn misadventures of 2 Bigfoot. Head on over to Bigfooting with Keith N Collin on Facebook. We begin the show, as we always do, with a Bigfoot conference. The Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference, to be exact. It was been scheduled for Saturday, July 27th. The event is set to last from 9 to 5. This conference will be hosted in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee at the Gatlinburg Convention Center, and offers an opportunity for Bigfoot fans at Millington to attend an event dedicated to Bigfoot. This is set to be the biggest Bigfoot conference in the Southeast, according to GatherUpEvents.com. The Gatlinburg Convention Center is a large building. The main room that will host the event is 148,000 total square feet. This makes the conference center more than capable of hosting a sizable group of people. The main attraction of the event is the appearance of Cliff Barackman, co-host of Finding Bigfoot. Along with hosting the show, Barackman is also a Bigfoot field researcher. He will be telling stories about his investigations and sightings of the Sasquatch. Tickets are $25 each, and VIP tickets are $100 each. For the first time ever, a Bigfoot conference is coming to East Tennessee. This conference offers up the chance for locals to join in with the festivities and reserve a ticket for this upcoming summer. They will have to hurry though, spots are limited and tickets are going fast. Gentlemen, we have been doing this show for 11 weeks, as it is episode 11. Every week we have talked about a Bigfoot conference. 3 of those have been updates, so that means 8 of those have been brand new Bigfoot conferences. 8 in 11 weeks. Think about that.
Well, I think it's like an ebb and flow of Bigfoot interests, and I think we're definitely see a huge influx of new people into the field. And this is a good example. Now, Smoky Mountain Bigfoot. I mean, this. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is their very first conference, right?
The very first one, yeah.
Oh wow, and it's that huge. Man.
All they could get was Cliff Barackman, though.
Well, yeah, it takes time to set up, and you look at the area they're in, though. The Southeast isn't known for, having. I don't know if Jeff Meldrum would fly down there or not, but you think he would if the money was right. I didn't want to say that, right? But the money was right, because I think he does charge, I think, for his appearances.
Well, you'd hope so. I mean, he appears in a lot of Bigfoot conferences. You didn't want to think he'd be doing that for free.
Right. And then, of course, he sells, swag.
Bigfoot gas?
Yeah, swag at the table there.
Gotta have his swag.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pronounced swag.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said, swag.
No, swag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a lot of swag there. He sells at the table.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is July 27th. There are some tickets left if you want to go. Moving on, we had a lovely little Bigfoot article entitled, "Even if Bigfoot isn't real, we still need him." It was written by a woman called Laura Krantz, who hosts the podcast Wild Things. Now, it said in the article she was related to Grover Krantz, but I haven't been able to confirm that on the internet. So I guess I'll have to take that at face value. Apparently, she is a serious journalist. She's covered a lot of subjects for NPR, war.
She has. She is the Wild Thing.
It was a longish article about looking for Bigfoot over a 2-year period. She was very anti-woo in the article. She talks about the need for Bigfoot for an evolutionary and biological point of view to show where we came from. She believes Bigfoot to symbolize a need to connect with the wild. Speaks about the monsters on the edge of civilization, like Grendel and Echidnu from folklore. Speaks about cryptozoology being no different than any other scientific endeavor. Its need to find or preserve biological habitat is no different than normal conservation efforts. She joined Derek Randall's over at the Olympic Project, went to see the old nests they've got up there. She's talked about how the Sykes Project helped understand 2 critically endangered species of bear that we knew very little about. She said that DNA would be the next big hope for Bigfooting, and points out that even the most rabid Bigfooter has their doubts, and closes with that no one has proven that Bigfoot doesn't exist, so keep your eyes open just in case. It is a very long article, but it's well worth a read. The link will be in the description. Phil, did you read that?
I kind of breezed through it, but some of the things that she points out, I obviously agree with, and as far as placing Sasquatch into cryptozoology, that is the study of creatures unknown to us. I'm not too sure if Bigfoot would actually fit in with that. I think that it's very easy to understand the possibility of the existence of another primate. Primates exist. Bigfoot is said to be nothing more than a primate. Like, we walk on 2 legs. It walks on 2 legs. What's the big deal? So it's so can height, but I think that it's borderline. I think it's a borderline crypto. Let's face it, it's not Mothman, all right? It's not Dogman.
Hey, not. Let's not be downing on the Mothman now. It's my favorite cryptid there.
Yeah, but see, now cryptid is exactly the term that we're talking about.
Phil.
Yeah.
It's the Mothman, my friend.
The Mothman.
Yeah.
Nurse Ratched.
And poof, he's gone. Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that, Phil.
So anyway, I do agree with her. Obviously I'm skeptical about a lot of things, especially the woo part of it. So I'm glad that we kind of are along the same lines there. But yeah, she's been around a while.
She's a very good journalist, and it is a very nice article.
Mm-hmm.
And I suggest you all give it a read. Chris, did you read it?
I was not able to catch up on this week's news stories. I'm kind of just like soaking it in as you give it to me this week, Richard. But I've been a little preoccupied.
That is absolutely fine. So moving on to the Portland Tribune, the new search for Bigfoot underway in the Mount Hood Forest. Scott Violet was hiking in the Blue Mountains in eastern Oregon last summer when he saw what he believed to be Bigfoot. I tracked down the migratory patterns with credible reports we received and found that this is where it would be at this time, said Violet, owner of Blue Mountain Bigfoot Research and the host of a recent search for the legendary creature in the Mount Hood National Forest. After 25 years, I pinned down that this is where it would be. Violet said that the first thing he noticed was the smell, which he compared to wet dog rolled in garbage. And then he saw its face through the trees. It bobbed his head, he said. I heard a loud whistle. It wasn't like a person's whistle. It was like a female elk chirping sound, but a higher pitch. The creature walked towards the sound. Violet later found 3 sets of 16-inch footprints and 3 sets of 9-inch footprints. He theorized that the creature he saw was a juvenile, and the mother Bigfoot was the one that whistled. Violet hosted an investigation for the creature from Sunday, March 24th through Wednesday, March 27th at the Armstrong Campground in the Mount Hood National Forest. The area is rife with Bigfoot sightings, and a 2015 book refers to the stretch of Highway 224 that runs through the forest as the Oregon Bigfoot Highway. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Oh. Hey. Well, I was born and raised in Portland. So I woke up every morning, looked out my window, and there was Mount Hood. And I'm very familiar with the area. There are several or Bigfoot highways in the country, or things that are considered to be the Bigfoot highway. But I do like the thing about the whistling, because I've heard up here. In fact, there's the Salish tribe up here have totem carvings where they show the Sasquatch head. This is over 100 years. They've been doing this, and with the pierced lips on this mask and what's called the whistler, because the Sasquatch would create these whistle sounds. And so a lot of them just called them the whistler, especially around the Snohomish County area. So yeah, I kind of go right along. I go right along with what he's saying.
Chris, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I've been up in that area. Not, I haven't like extensively looked up in that area, but I've been up in that area. The Pacific Northwest, as much as some people will say that it gets far too much of the attention, I mean, I do have to say there's just so much unexplored area up there. And it's vast. So if anything was going to be anywhere, I would have to say there. That's my thoughts on it. Is this guy right? I don't know what his technique was to narrow down his search. It all seems kind of vague, but if he's found something, kudos. I'd love to see, some solid evidence.
Yeah, there's nothing to indicate that he's a biologist or anything of that nature. So that part of the story, I don't know if I go along with it necessarily, but everyone's got their own quote unquote areas that they do research and
right.
So,
but I'm all for good evidence if it's good evidence.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Is that a good drink there?
It is. I'm waiting to see if Richard's going to take us to the next segment here.
The next segment is Power Breakdown's breakdown of, well, it wasn't really a breakdown. He played a video of a young boy recording sounds that the kid said might be Bigfoot. It's about 2 minutes long. They are pretty odd noises. Phil, you didn't really comment much on the video. What did you think?
I didn't comment at all.
No.
I put it up. I put it up as it was with some sound enhancement near the end, where the two calls come one right after another. And I did that deliberately because it's rather redundant of me to get up there and say, geez, I just don't know what it is. Or to say, oh yeah, well that's this or that's that, without any evidence whatsoever, without any form of breakdown or comparison to validate anything I might say in as far as what it might be. So judging from the fact that I really don't know, I put it out there for people to listen to. It's kind of fun at times to let our imaginations go. Without saying, "Hey, this is this."
And sometimes, Phil, doing what you did, just putting it out there in that fashion, it gives fresh eyes to it, or fresh ears in this case.
And I agree. I absolutely agree.
And sometimes people can catch things that other people can't. I'll take it back to the Norm Glasser situation we had with Steve Alcorn. Steve gets sent this. Hey, this guy had this encounter. Here's this picture. What do you think? And it looked really good. And Steve's going down all these roads, interviewing the guy, and then he puts the picture out there. And the next day, Adam Bird's like, "Yeah, this is a picture from a museum."
Yeah. Some guy's got it in his drugstore.
Right. So, so seeing or putting this out there for fresh ears to hear it, I think it's a great idea.
And when I first saw the Glasser head, I guess is what that was called, I was like, "Whoa!"
Right. What is that?
The story was that the thing was right up against
right up against the glass, and he snapped.
And that's what it looked like. It looked like it was photographed through the glass and blah blah blah. So, but yeah, when it came out, this is just a head in a box,
in a glass box.
But still, if you listen to this, you have to understand certain things. I could have brought up certain things that were factual. Let's say it's obvious that this sound is off in the distance. Now, because it's off in the distance, it's going to have a certain amount of echoing, and you're going to have what they call distance distortion or echo distortion. So it may not sound like what it would if you stood next to whatever it was, whether it's a coyote or a wolf or a Bigfoot. But second thing is, because of the distance and because of the amount of echo, we can, let's say, make a logical assumption that it's quite a ways away, in which case it's quite loud. So, I mean, you could go any way you really want to, but in the bottom, the bottom line is it sounds freaky. It's a cool thing to listen to. So I was kind of
check it out on Para Breakdowns channel.
It was a lot of fun. I think it's a fun video. It's one of the most fun I think I put up.
It's a good video. You didn't ruin anyone's fun, and we all had a good time listening to it. The only thing I will say is that when I lived in Colorado, I used to hear coyote sounds that sounded very familiar, similar to those noises. That's the only thing I would say, but that's my opinion, and I can't prove it.
Okay.
Yeah, but another thing is,
Phil and I had a coyote come right up close to camp.
Yeah,
like that, Richard.
Well, I didn't say it
was like less than 100 feet away, Richard.
That's pretty cool.
But I will also say one more thing about it. It was singular. It wasn't in a pack.
Yeah, it was just.
That's true. Yeah, it's one.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, you put me in my place. That could be big.
That happened. that happened, Richard.
Yeah, no. I've been told. I've been put down. Moving on to our final story. In an attempt to save some face. Bigfoot Tony. We all love
me some Bigfoot Tony.
Yeah.
Folks, if I'm going to go with a breakdown guy, Bigfoot Tony's my man.
Bigfoot Tony. You gotta love the guy.
How can you not go Bigfoot Tony?
I'm all for it.
I do enjoy Bigfoot.
I'm team Tony.
He's right up there with Tim Fasano on videos.
He's great.
He's right up there with Tim Fasano.
Yeah.
God. The hell does that mean?
Did you want his blood pressure to go up during the show, Richard?
Well, I'm a Tim Fasano fan, Phil.
Oh yeah, that's right. Then how come he won't come on your show and debate me?
I don't know. It is very weird, but this is a positive show. We don't want to say anything.
Oh, that's
negative.
true. That's true.
That's right, Phil. Why don't you
Ours
put on
is
your,
just to observe and report.
positive jacket?
If you know, even if we all felt that Tim Fasano was a massive weenie for not coming on this show to debate Phil, we wouldn't say it because that would not be positive at all.
That would not be nice.
That would be
Phil.
mean.
So why don't you just put on your little optimism cap?
Now, is this a Bigfoot Tony's follow-up to the Bigfoot tearing up the trees?
This is his follow-up to the follow-up.
To the follow-up, yeah.
Apparently, he got into a thing with Thinker Thunker about this video.
Mm-hmm.
Got a bee in his bonnet for sure. So he did the follow-up video to the original breakdown, which we covered 2 or 3 weeks ago, and just this week he's released like a 2 or 3 minute follow-up to his follow-up.
Richard, isn't Bigfoot Tony British?
He's Welsh,
but he's from your neck of the woods, right?
He's sort of. He's from Wales.
Okay, he's Ukasian.
Right, but he's from your neck of the woods, is what I'm saying. Correct?
Well, you don't really want to say the Welsh or English. They don't like it.
Okay, well, I didn't say they were English. I said that you're from the same neck of the woods. You know, like I would say that technically you're kind of from the same neck of the woods as like other people in Europe.
Would you?
Okay. So all I'm asking you is you're from the same neck of the woods as a gentleman, correct?
We're on the same island, yes.
Okay, thank you. Why don't you reach out to him?
Reach out to Bigfoot Tony.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'd love to have him on so he can show up Phil.
I don't think that him and Phil have a problem.
That's all right. We can make one.
He's been very complimentary of Phil in past videos.
No, I think he's one of the good guys. So I think it'd be fun to have him on.
Yeah, no, he's a great breakdowner. A bit long-winded.
Yeah. No, he is a little bit long-winded, but
he's thorough.
He's very thorough.
He's a thorough man.
But this video we're going to talk about wasn't one of those 20-minute long diatribes. It's about 3 minutes long. It just shows the same clip and some text on the screen about how you don't need to see something to know that it's there. Basically, he's pretty adamant that it's...
Wait a minute. Is he Schrodinger's cat on this thing?
Yeah, he's gone full Schrodinger's cat. Apparently,
I like the animation thing he put in there.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
He's very good at his stuff. But basically, he's adamant that this is not a Bigfoot. This is a tree machine that's knocked this down.
Wait a minute. He doesn't subscribe to the Phil Polling breakdown of the ground moving?
Oh, you mean the Great Tree Migration?
The Great Tree Migration.
That I was, obviously that whole video. Obviously, I was being so serious about.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and it's interesting that one of the very first comments on my video was that, "What's that glint of light?" And I says, "Well, obviously, that glint of light is like something shining off of I don't know, a piece of equipment, maybe."
Phil, that's not really saying much. You just said
no. I wasn't going to admit to
Phil,
it.
You're not being very specific.
I'm not. I didn't want to.
That's very dodgy.
No, I was being open-minded because you don't want me to spoil things for you, Chris.
So you needed to tell me that a bunch of ants decided to go for a walk.
Watch the video. You can actually see them just moving underneath the ground and pulling their roots out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I listen. I know you need to have some fun every once in a while.
It's cool though, isn't it? That was a cool video.
Yeah. No, that was a good video. I have
very good.
Very entertaining.
So what's Bigfoot Tony got to say to Thinker Thunker this time?
He's just more of the same. He's pointing out everything that makes it a machine moving the tree. It's not Bigfoot, and he's sticking to tree.
Well, he's pointing out something that I think that Thinker Thunker brought up was that, where's the rest of the machine? Well, the rest of the machine, because of our point of view, is looking up. and there's a cliff line there, or where you look up and beyond, but you don't see over that cliff line. So a lot of the machine is actually being hidden down over the other side, and that's why we can't see it.
Yep. It's pretty short. It's very succinct for Bigfoot Tony. It's like 3 minutes long.
And as far as I'm concerned, correct.
And Phil, it has the Phil pulling thumbs up of approval. So you can't ask for more than that. If Bigfoot Tony is listening to this show, I would suggest that maybe you make all your videos 3 or 4 minutes long.
I would suggest that you come on the show and debate Phil Polling once and for all.
Yeah, let's do this.
On who is the better breakdown guy.
I'm ready.
Forget this thinker thunker guy. You and Phil Polling need to settle this beef.
There's a beef.
Hey, people are saying, Richard.
People are saying there's a beef.
People are saying there's a beef. So I mean, I'm just relaying it.
Are those people you?
It could be. I don't know.
Yeah, Chris isn't trying to stir the pot.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Although
I think
would create.
No, listen. I think Bigfoot Tony is a very fine man who does a very fine work with his breakdown videos. I think Phil, nothing against you, he's far more thorough than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it'd be interesting to have him on to talk to him. I think it'd be fun. So.
Well, I'll reach out to him, see if he wants.
You should,
to.
Richard. You should.
Alrighty then. That's going to wrap us up for this week. Your T-shirt sales is over with.
Yep, so, they are. Thank you, everyone who bought a T-shirt. I appreciate it. And I don't know if I'll wind up doing another one. I don't. If I do another sale, I do not have a minimum print requirement.
So that's cool.
Well, the other one by Fred Dunn with the poker table.
That one, I think if I do that one, I will have a minimum print order.
Oh, well, that's awesome though.
But a 5, but yeah, and I have had a lot of people tell me that they would have spent the money on that.
Oh yeah, you'll get the purchases on that one.
Yeah. So.
All right. I think that Matt Knapp is still interested in hearing from you if you've had a Bigfoot sighting or a paranormal experience. You could contact him on his Gmail account, which is
BigfootCrossroads@gmail.com.
And yes, he's interested in hearing from you if you've had a Bigfoot sighting or a paranormal experience.
Yes, he is.
That about wraps it up for this week. We will return next week with more Bigfoot news. So good night, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.